Good morning, I'm Leslie Ann.
Hi, Leslie Ann. This is Big Chuck. Here we are at the water cooler. What you got for me today?
I am so excited, Chuck.
Yeah.
One of my favorite shows as a kid, I don't know if you watched it, was the Carol Burnett Show.
Oh, yeah. Who didn't watch it? It was fantastic.
There's nothing funnier to me than slapstick comedy.
She's
and
great.
she, along with Harvey Korman.
Tim Conway.
Oh. And I just found out, I'm so excited that Carol Burnett is coming back on a sitcom.
Yeah.
And it's going to be about a family who gets a chance to buy the house of their dreams, a house they'd never be able to afford under normal circumstances, but there are these extreme circumstances.
And it's coming back. Wow. How old is Carol Burnett now?
I have no idea.
She's got to be 80, isn't she?
But she's going to be starting with Amy Poehler, who is awesome, and she's executive producing.
That's great. You know, there are a few, maybe 5 shows, I think, that you would say are universally beloved. And the Carol Burnett Show, I've never heard anybody say, oh, my God, I can't stand that stuff.
And you know how they always have those commercials so that you can buy the
59 hours of Carol Burnett.
I want to do that.
I know you do.
I could get sucked right in. I could watch those shows forever.
You know, the other thing about the Carol Burnett Show is it's one of those shows that if I say to you, what was your favorite skit or what was your favorite episode, everybody has one. All I have to do to my wife is mention the Gone with the Wind skit where she comes down with the curtains on as the dress. My wife is on the floor crying with tears coming down her cheeks.
Yeah, that one. And when Tim Conway does he plays the slow guy who just can shuffle.
I know.
And it takes him 10 years to get from point A to point B.
And as we have now watched it over the years, it's taken on a life of its own, these outtakes of watching Harvey Korman dissolve into tears trying to watch Tim Conway. They did a skit with the dentist where Tim Conway ends up putting Novocaine in his own body. And
love that one.
And how Harvey Korman even survived it.
Yeah.
It is the funniest thing ever.
It is.
And, you know, it's hard to, maybe it's just because I'm getting old and getting crotchety or whatever, but there was nothing mean. There was nothing nasty. There was nothing foul. There was nothing off-colored. It was straightforward. It was genuinely funny. We loved the characters on the show.
Oh, yeah.
And now, and I hope they don't do it in her new show, but to appeal to the new generations, let's get some sex in it, or let's get some naughtiness in it, or some dirty words.
I know what you mean. It was just clean fun, and it was, the whole family could watch it.
The whole family.
And you'd all be rolling on the floor.
It's true. You know, there's a great story about that old Carol Burnett show, Vicki Lawrence.
That's right.
Vicki Lawrence sent a fan letter
to
Carol Burnett saying, everybody says I look like you, and I just want to tell you I'm a fan letter. And Carol Burnett said, I want to find this girl. And they found her, and they met, and she said, you're coming on my show.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. And she went on.
She did amazing. She had the whole Mama's family.
The whole Mama series was on a long time.
And she was hysterical.
Yeah. It's, when you think back of those shows, really, they were universally loved, and they were so. Is it possible that television was that innocent that she would come out dressed as a cleanup lady or a charwoman or whatever they called them, turn the bucket upside down, sit there with her mop, and sing 2 songs, and America fell in love with it.
Yeah.
Today, put my teenagers in front of that, and they would say,
"What? I don't get
it. Get me out of here."
Yeah, they would hate it.
I don't get it. I know, it's true. I mean, and of course, with the magic of YouTube, when you can see all of these old shows again, you wonder, what did we lose something? A lot of people would say, no, we gained something because it's smarter now. It's more in tune with the way life is. These comedies are looking at real problems and controversies. I miss it.
Yeah, I miss it too. Not to say that there aren't shows that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Because there are. But like you said, the innocence, the just plain funny stuff.
It was just plain funny. Carol Burnett is a funny lady. There's no doubt about it. Mary Tyler Moore never, to my knowledge, never did a mean thing on television, whether it was Lou Grant or the Mary Tyler Moore Show. and yet we loved it. She's another one that we just loved. And today you turn on some of the TV and it's mean, you know.
Yeah, right. Or it's nasty.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of gore. For me, I don't like the gratuitous violence and the gory stuff. You know, they show the bullet entering the skin.
Yeah.
You know, it's just more graphic,
I know,
I guess.
I know.
And I don't care for that.
No,
but then
don't need
again,
it.
you and I came from more innocent
Yeah.
days where
Well,
everything was suggested.
Yeah. And for me, there was a certain amount of meanness that started to creep into shows. And I know that I am in the minority on this. But, for example, I didn't like Everybody Loves Raymond. I thought it was mean.
It was a mean show.
It was mean. And everybody,
it was
I mean,
funny, but it had a mean edge.
A
You're
mean
right.
edge. The parents, Peter Boyle and Doris Roberts, who were the parents, funny people. They were funny, but there was an underlying meanness. I know I'm in the minority, and I love those actors, but it was like everybody was cutting everybody down.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Again, maybe it's just getting old, but I noticed that creeping into shows. Whereas before, you know, if you watched a show like I don't know, any of the shows that we grew up with.
Leave It to Beaver.
Well, not even that old.
Right.
Not even that old, but shows in the 70s and the early 80s. You know, maybe Archie Bunker, which was a very funny show. Maybe that's the first one that maybe opened the door to that.
Yeah, that
But it
definitely
was a very funny
edgy.
show. It was a very funny show. But here's when I look back at where the meanness kind of took over for me. I know that I'm in the minority. My favorite character on All in the Family was the character that was the least mean. Edith.
She was my favorite character too.
And she didn't have a mean bone in her body.
Archie.
I know. And that I kind of was
She
kind of
was
attracted
sweet.
to her
Yes.
character rather than the mean ones, and then it just kind of went on. But again, I know that I'm in the minority, and if you and I were trying to sell our theory to TV producers, they say that stuff isn't gonna sell.
Yeah, sure.
Give me mean, give me sex, give me violence, give me profanity, give me skin, you know. And I'm glad that my heavy network TV viewing is behind me and not ahead of me.
Yes.
I mean, I grew up with Gilligan's Island and McHale's Navy, and
Me too.
funny, stupid F Troop, silly stuff. And like I said, if I were to put Joey or Abby or any of our kids down in front of one of that, they would say, this is the most boring thing I have ever seen.
Yes,
Well,
get us
we're sitting
outta
on the
here.
couch rolling.
Yes.
So
exactly.
I don't know. Well, welcome back to her. Good. I'm glad to see
Very
that.
excited about Carol Burnett coming back. We'll see how
Carol
it goes.
Burnett coming back. All right, we got to get back to work.
That's right.